Welcome to the Skeptic Zone, the podcast from Australia for science and reason.
Hello and welcome to the Skeptic Zone, episode 305 for the 24th of August 2014. Happy birthday, nephew Rory. Richard Saunders here with you from Sydney, Australia. Well, this week's show is a out and about sort of show. It's a live sort of experience show. You'll understand by the end of it. Because I take you behind the scenes a little bit of the mystery investigators. My friend Ian Bryce and I were performing this week at the Australian Museum for school groups, doing our mystery investigator show. Bed of nails, water divining, power balance, optical illusions. Big shout out and thank you to Richard Wiseman, who gave me permission to use one of his videos in the live mystery investigator show about perceptions. Thank you, Richard. Much appreciated, and the students really got a kick out of it. And thank you once again to the Australian Museum for booking the mystery investigators. Then after that, it's a week in science from the Royal Institution of Australia, www.riaus.org.au, and thank you to Paul Willis. Dr. Paul Willis, he gave a talk in Canberra during the week, and he and my dear friend Lauren Cochrane, the president of the Canberra Skeptics, took the Ice Bucket Challenge. Good on them. Poured cold water all over themselves on video. And earlier in the week, my good friend and Skeptic Zone reporter, Dr Rachie Dunlop, also took the Ice Bucket Challenge. Then to round off the show, it's a long series of interviews with Maynard. Maynard and I just last night, to the Powerhouse Museum here in Sydney, where they had a wonderful night of science. They had all sorts of scientists turn up to talk to the general public, and they had a stage show featuring the singing astronaut, Chris Hadfield. And wow, didn't the crowd love his talk about going up into space and living on the space station, what it's like to come back, and his scientific outreach. Fantastic, fantastic. However, I was there at the request of Frankie Lee at the Powerhouse Museum to, entertain the crowd sort of between sessions, which I did with spoon bending, and we did water divining tests and demonstrated power balance, sort of like a mini mystery investigator show. And Maynard was there to do interviews and also take part in the show as well. He's sort of the mystery investigator in training. And we'll be doing some more live shows there in about a week's time. So Maynard chats to all sorts of people at the big night of science at the Powerhouse Museum. What a wonderful thing it was too. What a great outreach program they have there at the Powerhouse Museum here in Sydney. Now, a quick note from our friends in Melbourne. I think I mentioned last week there's a dinner coming up with Lawrence Krauss. Lawrence Krauss, yeah, dinner coming up, dinner and a talk, and it's almost sold out. Almost. In fact, as I'm recording this, I believe there may be 1 or 2 tickets left. Now, if you're in Melbourne, or you can be in Melbourne on the 29th of August, rush to vicskeptics.wordpress.com, not only to find out more about the goings-on of the Victorian Skeptics, but to see if there are still tickets left for this dinner. Inquire. Try to get in. See what they can do for you, because the tickets sales have to close on Monday, which is the day after this podcast goes out, so be quick. Be quick, and you might just sneak in. Now, a big shout-out and a very big thank you to a lovely lady I met at the amazing meeting, Celestia Ward. And she was just one of the fun people who go to the amazing meeting, TAM in Las Vegas. And I really didn't know, or I didn't twig, or I was too busy to comprehend what she really did or does for a living. She's an artist, and a particularly good artist at that. Particularly fine, doing caricatures amongst other things. And it wasn't until I got home and I was looking around Facebook that I saw some examples of her artwork, and I was so impressed that I begged her with offers of origami earrings and all sorts of things for her to do a caricature of me, which she did, and I was completely blown away. It was fantastic. It's on my Facebook page if you're interested. Wow, what a great caricature it is. So I'm pleased to promote what she does, because she is obviously very talented. And you can head to www.twoheadsstudios.com. That's a numeral 2. twoheadsstudios.com to check out what she does. She lives in Las Vegas, and she does caricatures by commission. She'll turn up at events and things like that. And I can personally recommend her. She, not only because she sort of did a very funny caricature of me, but in the other ones I've seen, she really captures the essence of people, I think. It's quite remarkable. Thank you, Celestia. I really appreciate that. And everybody else, if you're looking for someone to do a caricature of you, I can certainly recommend this fine artist. And thank you also to Spoonie Quine, who I met at the amazing meeting. Another artist. She drew a scene from the audio adventure Solar Flare. And if you've heard Solar Flare, you might remember the part where the crew lands on the Wu-class planet and we're all attacked by flying monkeys. Well, Spoonie actually drew that scene and she sent it to me in the post. Wow, how touching. That's definitely going on a frame on the wall. Thank you, Spoonie. It's very nice of you. And just before we get stuck into the Skeptic Zone, a big thank you to all those people around the world who have been helping me out with sending in subtitles for the Vaccination Chronicles, the little documentary I put up on YouTube. That documentary now has subtitles in. I wonder if I can remember them all. English, of course, Russian, Portuguese, Danish, German, Italian, and Dutch, with more on the way, including Turkish, and, well, we'll see what arrives. Fantastic work, people around the world, and thank you to Susan Gerbeck for helping put all that activity together. But that's enough from me right now. I'm going to run downstairs, open up the cupboard, see if I can find some couscous. Couscous with a little bit of chili sauce and tuna. Yeah. Couscous, chili sauce and tuna. While I drift away thinking about that, I hope you enjoy the Skeptic Zone. It's time once again for the Mystery Investigators. This week it's myself, Richard Saunders, and my friend Ian Bryce, performing at the Australian Museum for groups of high school students. The Mystery Investigators show has been going now for about 11 years. We explore the strange, the mysterious, the spooky, if you want to put it that way, using science. We do water divining, we have a bed of nails, we explain the tricks behind power balance. I'm in the backstage area. And just on the other side of a very flimsy curtain is a whole hall full of scientific exhibitions and stalls and things, which you can probably hear jam-packed full of students. I'm going to put my head around the corner here. We have a robot, a large robot running around the floor here. Doesn't look like a robot, but it is. We have a display of physics here with one of those generators, static electricity generators. We have all the Australian Defence Force are here recruiting a career in science in the Defence Force. That's a noble thing, I think. Sydney Water is here. We've got the University of Technology Sydney with their scientific outreach. Lots of students wandering past me at the moment. Sydney Water is showing how they clean up the waterways. University of New South Wales Chemistry Department is here. The Jenolan Caves, which is a very famous natural cave formation west of Sydney. The Victor Chang Cardiac Research Institute is also represented. The Age of Fishes Museum at Canowindra in New South Wales. I went there once and I was in that area and I found some fossilized trilobites, which is very satisfying. Walking around the corner here. So many students from so many schools here. The Australian Museum itself has an exhibition, which is good to see. ANSTO, the atomic reactor, is here. It's demonstrating. Just walk around, lots of kids. It's great to see so many students have come in to experience all this interesting science and to ask questions. And soon a lot of them will be coming into the theaterette to watch the Mystery Investigators show, which I'm quite pleased about. Now, wander back now towards the back area. The kids are trying out the static generator here. They're all holding hands in a big circle. I think they anticipated too much. The idea is, of course, the electrical charge will go right around the whole circuit of students. They're going to try it one more time. Here we go. All holding hands, and every now and then from the backstage area we're hearing these shrieks of students, which is quite good, quite good. Well, the time is now approaching the end of the current talk in the Hallstrom Theaterette, or theatre. And when that talk's over, the doors will be flung open on this side, so Ian and Bryce and I can set up our Mystery Investigators performance. And of all the things I do in the skeptical realm, I must keep a list one day. I think the Mystery Investigators is probably one of the most satisfying. It's a lot of fun. It's good to perform for kids. And after all these years, I think a lot of students, thousands I guess, have learned about water divining and investigations, and they've learned that there are skeptical groups out there. So, on with the show. It's Ian Bryce. Hi, Ian. We're here in the stage area, in the theaterette area. We've set up the Mystery Investigator show. The water divining test is all set up. We've got the juggling balls ready. The bed of nails is over there. Gee, it's doing well for 11 years old.
Absolutely. It looks like a great show.
And some students are coming in there. Hello, everybody. Come in. Good morning. Hi. This is the Mystery Investigators.
I don't know where we're supposed to be.
Oh, okay.
Do you know where the rest of them are?
Do you know what the show is you're seeing?
No.
Oh, well, there you are.
Might be Kim Butts.
Well, that's the sort of day it is. Now, I hope these students are with us because they're filing in. Look at them all come in now. Hi, kids. What school are you from?
Auburn Girls.
Auburn Girls. Radio. Yes, if you want. Unless your teacher says no, I think you can. What school are you from?
Auburn Girls.
Auburn Girls as well. Excellent. Well, I better put this away now and get ready for the show. Well, all the shows went very well, I think, with the kids joining in and all sorts of things. And towards the end of each show, we have the bed of nails. And we pick up the action where I've just carefully lowered myself down onto the bed of nails, and Ian Bryce is about to step on my back.
Wow.
It's one way to iron my shirt. Thank you, Ian. Thank you. All right. Well, yes. Thank you, Ian, very much. So, how is that possible? How on earth can I lie on a bed of nails and not be injured and have Ian stand on my back? I think your hands up.
Don't you distribute the weight over all the nails?
Oh, that's a minty. For those of you who didn't hear it, my weight was distributed amongst, almost all the nails. So every individual nail was only carrying a tiny little bit of weight. And so I really couldn't be punctured or anything. What would happen if there were, say, 5 nails? It would be not pleasant. It would be very unpleasant. But that's just physics. That's just my weight being distributed evenly amongst many nails. But for many years, when we heard about tales of the bedded nails, it just didn't make sense in a scientific way, until we discovered that the nails were relatively close together. And you don't have to be in a special mystical trance, and you don't have to fast for 6 years or do any of that. Anybody can really lie on the bedded nails. It's a mystery that science has discovered.
Welcome to a week in science from RiAus, bringing you the science you need to know. With features like parking assist, automated braking and adaptive cruise control, we're already well on our way to having driverless cars. In fact, manufacturers say that they'll be in stores by 2020. So, how do they work? Prototypes from Nissan, Volvo, Audi and Google use a variety of sensors mounted on the car to build a detailed picture of its surroundings. One of the main sensors is a type of laser called LiDAR. It sends out rapid pulses of non-visible light and measures the time they take to bounce off objects and return. Because light moves at a constant speed, we can then calculate the car's distance from that object and build a 3D image of its environment. The data from LiDAR is combined with video and radar sensor information and is processed by an onboard computer that makes decisions about steering, braking, and acceleration. This sophisticated programming requires the computer to self-learn so that it can still choose the correct action when it encounters unexpected scenarios. I can see the appeal of a driverless car, allowing you to better use your commuting time and providing independence to people who couldn't otherwise drive. Plus, they could save thousands of lives by removing human driver error, which accounts for over 90% of crashes. They could also benefit the environment by reducing the number of cars on the road. One vehicle could serve the whole family by driving itself between pickups and drop-offs. Or, in a reimagined taxi service, rather than owning a car at all, you could lodge a transport request and whatever car is closest will pick you up. Smart braking and acceleration could potentially increase fuel efficiency by 25%, and communication between cars will mean that road space is used better and commuting times become shorter. But there are some concerns, so let's take a look at the top 4. First are concerns about licensing and legal issues. If your driverless car is in a crash, who is liable? Viruses and malfunctions in the software are another worry. If we can't have bug-free internet browsers, is it even possible to make a bug-free car? A third potential impact is that the technology will encourage urban sprawl, with people tolerating long commutes when they're not actually driving. And finally, the idea of someone being able to remotely hack your car raises some scary safety and even terrorism concerns. That's it for this week in science. For more information on driverless cars, go to the RiAus website, riaus.org.au. Follow us on Twitter at RiAus and like us on Facebook. I'm Kieran Groom, and we'll catch you next week.
Do you want to get in touch with nature without the fallacies? Come along to Camping Skeptically, organised by the Brisbane Skeptic Society. Spend 2 nights at the Tulbura Chalet in the picturesque Bunya Mountain. Enjoy the company of fellow skeptics with bushwalks, barbecues and pseudoscience movie night along with a few drinks. It's only $60 for 2 nights, September 12th to the 14th. Places are strictly limited, so go to brisbaneskeptics.org for more details.
Here's Maynard's spooky action at a distance.
Wow, I'm surrounded by all these really old inventions and all these ancient artefacts. And for once, I'm not at home. But here's an ancient artefact for you boys and girls out there. It's Richard Saunders.
Yeah, I knew that line was coming, Maynard. We're surrounded by, here's a, it's not a rickshaw, what is it? It's a...
this is one of the chairs that I believe Dick Smith used to get other various members of Skeptics Australia to carry him around in.
We did, a sedan chair. This is, you'd get in, people would lift you and carry you around.
Yeah, Dick Smith actually circumnavigated the world in this sedan chair. The 4 people who are carrying him, unfortunately, no one can remember their name.
Now, we're in, the talks are going on sort of in the other room. You can probably hear them in the background.
Chris Hadfield is there.
Thank you. I was just trying to think of his name.
He's the Canadian astronaut, of course, and I would love to ask him, if I got a chance, that I'm told that you're not really an astronaut until you've done a number 2 in a space toilet in space.
I'd probably have to agree with you, Maynard. Then you know it.
Yeah, then you know, yeah, okay, yep, now I've done everything you'd say after you've done that, because it's not easy in zero gravity.
It's not easy. But you're the Cub mystery investigator tonight, Maynard. You're in training.
That's right. I'm in training, helping you talk people about the idiomotor effect, I believe is one of the things we're going to be talking about. I thought it was the idiot motor effect, and I had my old 1963 Volkswagen outside, but that's a completely different thing.
It's a different idiot. No, you're going to be helping me with the water divining test, the power balance demonstrations tonight, and a bit of spoon bending.
Mm-hmm. And look, and I'm going to be talking to a few people about the wisdom of Eric von Daniken as well. I thought we might get a bit of the alternative in there, Richard. Is that what we're going to be going about?
Now, we have to fill up the show somehow, Maynard, but really.
And I had to ask, because all the scientists have got here, like, for example, this scientist here.
We're in this little area where all the scientists are going to sit and chat to people.
This is Dr. Olga Shimoni, Chancellor's Postdoctoral Research Fellow at UTS, and you can ask her about nanotechnology and nanobots.
And, as Skeptic Zone listeners may remember, some months ago, maybe almost a year ago, I interviewed Dr. Emma Johnston.
Professor Emma Johnston.
Professor, indeed.
University of New South Wales, marine ecologist, exotoxicologist and TV presenter.
Yeah, I visited her at her research facility on Sydney Harbour, and we had a great interview down there, so she's going to be here later on. All these tables are set up around us, Maynard. They're all got names on them of famous scientists that members of the public can come and chat to. And this is a great thing that the Powerhouse Museum have put on tonight.
Yeah. Well, I was going to get one too, a table that said, ask Maynard about anything, because I won't know. People go, because I'll make stuff up. That's the thing. They should have a fake scientist, and people have got to tell which guy isn't the... That'd be me. Yes, I believe that would be the square root of pi. Hang on a minute.
Wait a minute.
Hang on a minute. Look, it says UTS Science. Here's a really weird sign.
Rachel Dunlop.
Dr. Rachel Dunlop. Oh, well, that's got to be a jip for... look, this is a put-on. This is a put-on. Dr. Rachel Dunlop...
Dr. Rachel Dunlop.
Postdoctorate research fellow. Mentions nothing about drinking.
Rachel is also interested in the pseudoscience claims of anti-vaccination movement. Rachie will be here. Dr. Rachie will be here to answer questions from the public tonight. Isn't that great?
Yeah, I've got a few questions for her. Like, how come she didn't pay last month's rent?
That's a good question. That's right. But it's all very exciting.
Where was she on Tuesday night? I've got questions. I've got lots for her.
I wonder if she can answer those questions, Maynard.
Well, look, I hope I can do well, because she normally helps you out here. So tonight, the part of Dr. Rachie will be played by Maynard.
It's true. She's on duty tonight. She can't be doing a mystery investigator. She's got... her duties here at the table, at the science table. So you're going to have to put on her dress and be Dr. Rachie tonight.
I haven't got the legs, but I'll give it a go. Tonight will be special.
Oh, it's the singing astronaut. Can you hear that? Let's pop our heads around the corner and listen to the singing astronaut.
So sing your song, I'm listening. Out where stars are listening.
Look, I'm here with someone who's just seen Chris Hadfield do his talk. What's your name, little boy?
Iran Segev.
Hey, haven't you got something to do with the Australian Skeptics?
I think so, because this shirt seems... Yeah, it says Skeptics on it, so I think so, yeah. I've heard of the organisation.
How did you find Chris Hadfield's talk? Pretty inspiring, wasn't it?
I was awestruck. He was just... I mean, this is not about the person, it's just the way he talked, his attitude is just so inspirational that I spent half my time through the talk with goosebumps and with tears in my eyes. He's just... Again, it's not about being an astronaut, it's not about being the commander of a space station, it's about his attitude to following your dreams and to get it, and not just about reaching the end result, what it is that you want to do, but also about...
Away from the speech.
Yeah, okay. It's also about the journey on your way to that goal.
What I liked was he said, yes, you think you might get there at some time, but at the moment, enjoy the time you're in. Enjoy what you're doing today. Enjoy going to the library. Enjoy the sunshine. Enjoy the little things on your way to perhaps going to where you might want to go.
It wasn't, again, it's not just about enjoying, it's about, I think it's that combination of seeing your targets. Yes, knowing that what you're doing is getting you to that target, but that target is, I think he used to say, maybe one day I will get there. So it was about, yes, enjoy what you're doing today, and then have that vision, have that goal in front of you at all times. I think that's fantastic.
We're just touching the velvet rope now, and when you touch the velvet rope, of course, you meet a lot of people. And who have we got here?
Hi, it's Jackie Slavero. I'm an ambassador for Space Camp USA and also an ambassador for Space Camp Turkey. This year I've been made the Honeywell International Ambassador for their Educator at Space Academy program in Huntsville, Alabama.
And how many people from Australia are going to Space Camp this year?
This year I'm taking a group of 31 high school students and a few adults and a couple of teachers, and we leave on the 25th of September.
Give us a rough idea what goes on at Space Camp.
Space Camp, there's about 7 simulators that simulate different astronaut activities. You do missions, you're in teams of 16, you do scuba, weightless environment, construction, you have NASA astronauts come and have a talk. So it's basically 6 days of astronaut training for everyone from 9 to 99, but I focus on young children and young high school
What's
kids.
your favourite activity? Do they have the one where they have the really deep pool, where they do the stuff in the deep pool? What's that like?
The scuba's great. You do pyramid construction and stuff on the bottom of the scuba tank, but I think my favourite activity was either climbing the 50-foot rock wall and jumping off with a zip line on your back, or climbing the 38-foot pamper pole and leaping off like Superman. But I'm terrified of heights, so I kind of don't get those down perfectly. But I think truly it's just an awesome place. I love going there. It's I would highly recommend it to everyone. They even have visually impaired camp for blind children. So 3 times a year they close the camp and they do Braille, and they put the camp out in Braille. So everybody, if you have a dream, if you want to go to Space Camp, you should go. And Cara Doherty from here is listed in the top one. I think it's the first or second top place that she wants to visit on the planet.
And what's their website if we want to get a look at it and see what it's like there?
The website is easy, spacecamp.com.
Oh, that's easy.
Yeah, that's very easy. But also, too, via your program, if you want to get in contact with me, I'll give these guys a card and you want to talk about it. It's great. It's the most awesome thing I've ever done in my life, and it's been 10 times.
And Jackie, just a quick question. What is your favourite space movie or space TV show? Come on, what's the one you like? It doesn't have to be accurate, just one that's your favourite.
Actually, my favourite, I just always remember Astro Boy, Danger, and also I love...
who doesn't want rocket in their boots?
Oh, exactly, and the zip, zip, zip up the cave. Awesome stuff, it's just great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, it's Science Week. Science, 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 and we're at the Powerhouse Museum, and of course... When you're talking about science, where would you find a scientist like Dr Rachel Dunlop but at the bloody bar? How are you?
Hello, Maynard. I'm good, thank you.
You got yourself a big bottle of aspartame there.
Yes, I have. It's going to give me disease or something. I don't know.
Now,
poison.
You've got your little table over there. We're going to be talking to people. Are you ready for questions like, what were you doing out so late on Tuesday night?
Any questions? I'll take any questions, Maynard.
Where was last month's rent?
You have to come and ask me. Join the queue, take a number, and I'll answer all those questions for you.
The thing is, she says that so often this time of night on a Saturday. Usually it's across the road at the pub. Join the queue, take a number. It's like that kind of stuff. And tell me, what do people really want to know when they talk to you about your chosen field?
Do you know what? I have no idea. I've never done this before, and actually I was asked to do it, and I didn't realise that I'd be sitting down at a table like a speed date. So we actually have a chair across from me.
You thought it would be like the pleasure chest where there's a wall between the people and there's a small hole and people go, hello, Dr Rachie.
Yes, exactly, Maynard. That's exactly
it's nothing like that.
It's not at all, no. So I have no idea what to expect, but I think
I'm going to wind them up. I'm going to go, ask her about last Tuesday night.
You can do that, Maynard. I can handle it.
Look, and I've got to say, congratulations on the Ice Bucket Challenge. You tipped a bucket of ice over yourself
I did.
You called me out, and who else?
Dr. Paul Willis, who has responded, in fact.
I've responded by saying no. I've had the bucket tipped over me enough lately, if anyone knows the history, but I can't go into it. But I tell you what I will do. I am going to donate some money to my charity, which is the Bobby Goldsmith Foundation.
Well, good for you, Maynard. But you know what I was thinking of when I nominated you? I was thinking of you on the chocolate wheel in your gold hot pants. And I was thinking if someone could throw ice at you while you were spinning around.
Now, if people look up Maynard's Wheel of Woospy on YouTube, they will see me doing that. Unfortunately, I donated I'm glad you brought this up. I donated Maynard's Wheel of Woospy to a mistress at the Cross, Mistress Anna, I believe.
Oh, really?
And I don't know if you're aware of the bondage device known as the Spanish wheel.
No, I'm not, Maynard.
Okay. Well, she turned it into a Spanish wheel, which is basically you can get strapped to it and get spun round in a bondage kind of way. So it used to be all colourful and fluoro. Now it's all black and dark and in a dungeon somewhere at King's Cross. See Mistress Anna.
So I should have nominated Mistress Anna then for the Ice Bucket Challenge, shouldn't I?
Yeah, that's
Possibly.
true. Or Mistress Tokyo, actually, because I'm a bit of a fan of her work as well.
Right, I'm not familiar with her work, but I trust your recommendations, Maynard.
Okay, but look, so I will donate some money, and I will make sure that I get a receipt and take a photograph of it, so we know I've actually given some money to the Bobby Goldsmith Foundation.
We trust you, Maynard. We trust you. Yes.
Look, and so what are you hoping to tell people here? What are you trying to get across? How do you excite people about science?
Well, I am actually, since you mentioned the Ice Bucket Challenge, I have my video tonight, so I'll be playing that so people can laugh at me getting drenched. And, I mean, our research is really fascinating. I don't really have to sex it up because it's about bats and algae and birds, and so it's just really interesting on its own, I think.
Okay.
Such a great story.
Well, it absolutely has no relationship whatsoever to ancient astronauts or, ancient aliens. So, I mean, you haven't got the guy with the big hair helping out.
Maynard, I know you're always asking me this question and you're always trying to find a link between ancient aliens on the History Channel and Foxtel.
Yep.
I have not pursued that avenue yet, but it's a very good suggestion and I might write a grant for it and then maybe we can investigate it.
Because remember, I think it was Michael Shermer said that the paranormal can be a gateway drug to actual science. So if there is someone that's interested in the oogie boogie and the woo, they could perhaps get into your field through that. But your field really hasn't got a lot of that in it. It's actually just got straight up science.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I guess there's a bit of superstition in there and things like that. I don't know.
Hey, the one that really got me is when you went to the middle of the desert and found that there was algae in the desert if you just poured some water on it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Algae is 3.5 billion years old as a species, so it's evolved to grow just about anywhere.
Yeah, but did it ever win a Logie?
No, I don't think it's ever won a Logie.
No. For the best variety show, algae, no, never.
No, you're right. It's pretty crap, isn't it, really, when you think about it?
Look, I was watching I was watching some alternative videos on YouTube that said that there's no link between primates and man. The missing link is still there. Isn't there? What do you like on the evolutionary sciences?
Oh, I'm not. It's not my area of expertise, Maynard. I listen to the experts. I think this is a good piece of advice for everyone listening.
I'm listening now.
Take the advice of experts and take the advice of the consensus from experts. So even within that expert community, there might be one or two people that have different ideas, but it's best to rely on the consensus. And the consensus says that we are evolved from primates. So I reckon they're probably right.
Oh, look, I hate it when you beat me in an argument. Okay, what about stuff that's on the edge of science, stuff that's like history that has a lot of opinion in it and has the weight of various groups in it there? How do you work that one out?
Yeah, well, see, that's different because people's opinions are worthy of debate and are worthy of different opinions that can be debated. But when it comes to evidence and science and facts, there's no debate around evidence. 2 + 2 is 4. We can have a debate that it's 5, but it's just simply not. So we must rely on facts and evidence when it comes to science.
And what do you like at maths, by the way, Dr. Rachie? I've asked you a lot of questions, and believe you me, listeners, we have discussed a lot. I've never actually asked you, what do you like at mathematics? Because in your field, is that necessarily required?
It is required because I do calculations every day, and I'm unfortunately not very good at maths, Maynard. I love maths though, and I wish I'd pursued it further, but I just wasn't very good at it. But yes, you do need maths in science, not as much in biology, which is what I do. If you're doing physics, for example, you need a lot more maths.
Physics to me is just really hard maths to get under the table.
Yeah, basically. Well, it's applied maths too, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's how would you fit this wheel of whoopies through this doorway if it's too big, and you can write an equation and work it out.
And you can fit it in a double car garage. Have a look at that Maynard's Wheel of Woospy on it's Maynard's Wheel, I think it's on YouTube there. I'm going around in the Elvis suit, in the bongos, and with the monkey underpants.
Monkey underpants, very impressive, yes.
Now, what are the rates of like women and girls getting into science at the moment? Is it pretty much even at the moment? Have we had a drop-off or is it an increase? What's it like?
No, it's actually pretty even. And in fact, in the biological sciences, it's weighted more towards females in the early stages of career and also undergraduate. But as people progress through their careers, women drop off significantly. So this is a big problem which policymakers and leaders in our field have been trying to address for a number of years, is how to maintain and keep women in the field of science.
Now, why do they drop off? Is it because they see the earning potential isn't there, they go and do something else, they get married, or what is it?
Well, there are various reasons. One is, of course, family gets in the way. But also women, for some reason, tend not to apply for as many grants as men, even though the evidence shows that when they do apply, they're just as likely to get awarded the grants in most cases. So for some reason, they just sort of get pushed out and left to the sidelines. And it's a real big problem, and people are trying to address it at the moment.
Wow. Because every woman I know is smarter than me.
Really? How many women do you know? Just me, or?
Yeah, because but getting a grant is really hard. I mean, even in the arts. I mean, the arts is really hard because you've got to pretend you're something. You've got to pretend you've got an act for a start. So I guess in science, that's what you're doing as well. You're pretending you've got an act, or that be a scientific fact. Or I guess you know you've got one in science, don't you?
Well, you tend to know you've got something, and then you apply for a grant based on that small idea, and you apply for money to explore it further.
Right. So it's pretty much the same as an Australian council grant, really, isn't it? Really.
Probably, yeah.
You know
very hard to get, very competitive, and very disheartening when you don't get them.
Now, something that we used to have when I was in the Castner Club, and we did get Australian Council grants when that existed, is the person that ran the grant would come and check out what we were doing, and we all had to be in our best behaviour. Does that happen when the grant people come around and check you? What do you do? Do you wear a whiter lab coat than usual? What do you do?
We put our pants on our legs instead of on our heads, Maynard. That's what we do.
Yeah.
No, we do. We don't actually have them come and check on us, but we do have to write reports over a period of time to demonstrate that we're not just faffing about on a wool of whoopsie or whatever.
That's the thing. When you're doing an arts grant, you can faff about.
You can faff about. That's
the whole idea.
Yeah, exactly. I suppose so. But that's not the aim in science, is not to faff about, really.
What I'm asking everyone here today, what is your favourite space TV show or movie to do with space? Since we've got a space theme here as Science Week, what is your... I've mentioned Dark Star as being one of my favourite movies because it's a bit of an analogue of the Vietnam experience. Quark is a good TV show. I thought that was pretty good as well. Yeah.
I like Beyond the Shadow of the Moon. It's a documentary about the trip to the moon and the moon landings, and I can't remember if Frank Zappa's son made it or something.
Wow, that's cool.
I don't remember. But it's just a beautiful documentary, and it interviews all the astronauts and talks to them about their experiences, and also, interestingly, delves into the fact that some of them came back and became quite religious because they found the experience so overwhelming. And it's the famous movie where they talk about just putting your thumb up to Earth when you're standing on the moon and everything you know disappears in a second, and how overwhelming that was for them. But I also like The Dish. The Australian movie, The Dish. Yeah. It's a great film about space and moon and space travel. Yeah.
Well, I hope you have a good night tonight, getting great questions. I hope no one stumps you. Won't it really be annoying if some 12-year-old kid comes up and goes, have you got the equation to something? You go, no, little boy, I don't. And the little boy's going to go, boo.
Well, that could probably happen, Maynard, because I'm a scientist, therefore I don't know everything. We're trained
Batman's a scientist.
Is he?
Yes.
What kind of scientist is he?
Well, look, I've had this argument with a few people. A lot of people claim that Batman is, in fact, a technologist. And sure, yes, he is. But he's also a scientist. If anyone has seen Adam West, he's in the Batcave. He must have something in chemistry, because he's mucked around in chemistry, and maybe he's got a degree in crime or something like that.
Degree in crime?
Well, crime fighting.
Crime fighting? Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Forensics. He'd have to have a degree in forensics.
It's not my area of expertise, Batman's occupation or qualifications, Maynard, so I prefer not to comment in this situation.
Oh, look, let's reveal now. Let's not muck around.
Help myself.
Look at that.
Oh, fantastic. Scotty.
Look, it's William Shatner. William Shatner. Now, William Shatner's done as more for science than I ever have. But tell me, sir, what's your degree and who are you and what are you doing here as part of Science Week?
Oh, well, I am here representing ANSTO, and we're a sponsor of this event. And
which stands for?
The Australian Nuclear Science and Technology Organisation. So we're here just to basically raise awareness of what we're doing. And we've got an activity here, which is a science lab. So as the night goes on, you can grab a lab coat and jump into our lab, and you'll get a strip of photos that you can take home as a bit of a memento.
I might actually do that a bit later. And what's your degree?
I have a degree in the very noble science of marketing.
Get out.
Hence a science lab.
Look, I reckon marketing can be as difficult as like finding Americonium from time to time.
Yeah, well, that's true. It's true, yes. It can be very, very easy, or it can be extremely difficult, whichever way you want to look at it.
Well, so you can field tough questions like, how's that thorium reactor going? How are we going on that one? Is India way ahead of us on that one there?
Oh, well, look, we have a research reactor at ANSTO, so we make nuclear medicines and do research. Not so concerned about power reactors like a thorium reactor.
Good. See, that's the right question, see?
But we do produce, 85% of the country's nuclear medicines, so these are medicines you would take. You're going to have a scan to detect cancer or any other disease. So it's a very, very important facility to have. And in terms of research, we produce neutrons out of our reactor and use those neutrons to understand the atomic structure of all sorts of materials. So we have about 300 scientists working there that are in that particular field.
Now, this is a tough question, particularly for someone in the field. What's your favourite element? On the periodic table, when you're looking at it, you go, man, that just blows my mind.
Oh, well...
I've already claimed mine, Americonium. I like it because I think it's very bold of them to name it after their country. Quite selfish of them, but still just the same, not a bad element.
I'm going to give you a marketing answer here. ANSTO irradiates about 30% of the world's silicon. So I'm going to say silicon as my favourite elements, and this silicon is a step in the production of silicon chips.
And just about everything.
Yes, yeah. So,
glass. I think. Yeah. I think there's some in beer as well.
Well, I hope so. I don't know.
I hope so. That's one of my favourite. Look, I hope you're going to go well here. And what do the kids mainly get up to? That you take a photo of them in the lab and they do that.
Big kids tonight. You guys you come and have a go. So
there's lots of different coloured liquids. Now, are any of these normally available after 10 o'clock at a pub, for example? Is any of this still available in King's Cross, or has most of this stuff been banned?
In, I think, aisle 8 of the supermarkets. So food colouring.
Right. I've always been... I know that the red stuff makes you run around like a nut if you have some of it, but the blue stuff really washes your hands and gets rid of 99% of the germs.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. If you put some of that blue stuff on your hands, you're going to have blue hands for a few days.
Right, okay, well, I'll be fair enough. But it looks pretty cool. Like, this looks like there's some genuine science about to go on here.
Cool thing about this is you're going to get photos, and we are going to say, Richard, put this on your Skeptics Facebook site.
That's true. And tell us now.
Also Twitter them as well.
Actually, we'd like to know what's the website for you guys, so we can find out more about you and get to the bottom of that thorium issue that I've been discussing.
Well, you can have a look at all the other things that we're working on. So it is www.ansto, which is ansto.gov.au.
And do you ever take guided tours through Lucas Heights?
Guided tours every second Saturday for the general public, and most days during the school holidays as well too. So 2.5 hour tour, it's free. We'll show you our reactor, we'll show you our major scientific facilities. We've got other things like particle accelerators there as well too, different environmental labs. So we'll give you a good look around the site and also tell you all the amazing stuff that we do out there.
Great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Look, we're just seeing over in the background there, Richard Saunders is doing his stuff. He's bending spoons. He's making people find water. What's your name?
Michelle.
And what did Richard Saunders have you do then?
He just gave me a divining rod, went and hid some water whilst I was not looking, to get me to see if I could find the water with the divining rod.
And how did you go?
Didn't quite make it, no. I was just one box away, but I went with the way it was pointing, and it was definitely not pointing for the water.
So for a moment there, you'd already spent that $10,000 you could have won.
No, actually, I'm actually a regular follower of the Skeptic Zone, so I was actually already pretty sceptical about it anyway.
Oh, okay. So,
But,
so what you were doing could have been an example of cognitive dissonance, maybe?
Oh, perhaps, yes.
Maybe actually there is divining, but you didn't want it to happen.
No, exactly. My power of mind overruled it all, so yes.
I'm asking everyone tonight, because it's a bit of space here tonight, what's your favourite space TV show or movie? Have you got one?
Oh gosh.
I'm not necessarily meaning a realistic one, just one you like.
Oh God, now you put me on the spot.
Of course, I'm always a big fan of anything of the work of Shatner involved in it, but of course there's much other.
See, if it came to books, I'd probably, see Douglas Adams and Hitchhiker's Guide. So
Which volume?
Actually, the first one is and actually the first two I really enjoyed the most, I think. So yeah.
What about the Dirk Gently Detective Agency?
Oh, I have that on my bookshelf, but I've still yet to read it. So
I was lucky enough to meet him once and interview him, and he was a lovely man. And it's online. If you search Maynard and Douglas Adams, a 1 hour interview with him.
Oh, that would be amazing. I look forward to listening to it.
He was just the wildest guy.
Yes.
Well, thank you for helping us here tonight.
No, thank you, Maynard. It was lovely to meet you. Bye-bye.
Look at Science Week here at the Powerhouse, as we've said. And who have we got here, and what have you got a degree in, sir?
Hello, my name is Boyan. I actually have a degree in physics, but I'm here to talk about biology. I'm here to talk about algal biofuels.
Ah, and how has it been going so far? What have people been asking you?
Very interesting questions, actually. A lot about the future potential for getting sustainable energy in Australia. So, how much space will we need to... How much space do we need to grow algae in order to satisfy the energy requirements of the country? What are the advantages of algae against traditional fuels like crude oil? It's been very interesting so far.
And if we were to do it on a commercial scale, what would you have to do? Would you take over a very large area, or would it be how would you do it? What would it look like, an algae factory?
It would look quite agricultural, actually. It would be, you would have saltwater ponds on marginal land, so it can be desert, it doesn't have to be agricultural land. And what you would do is you'd choose a coastal region and you dig up algal ponds, you'd fill it with salt water, and then you'd put your cells in there and they would just grow. And they use sunlight to grow, so and some minimal nutrients.
Wow.
And you'd need to satisfy the crude oil demand for Australia, you'd need an area approximately the size of Sydney.
Okay, and that could be some area that's not being used for anything else at the moment.
Exactly, it could be a desert region.
Oh, okay. And what's been the largest scale production of this that's gone on so far anywhere in the world?
It's happening in the States at the moment. It's in New Mexico. And they're looking at about 400 hectares. They're scaling up to about 400 hectares at the moment. Okay.
And is it easy to explain in layman's terms how you get it from being the algae in the water to being able to be a fuel in your car?
It's easy to explain. It's a bit harder to do. What you do is you need to extract the algae from the water. So the algal cells are growing in suspension in the water. You need to pull them out. Then you need to squash them to get the oils out of them. And eventually you need to chemically convert those oils into fuels.
Right. And their oil is quite combustible, is that correct?
That's correct, yes. It's essentially an analog for crude oil. So once you get your oils out of the cells, you send them to a refinery and you process them the same way as a traditional fuel.
And the reason no one's doing this at the moment is because there's quite a steep curve to get it to the commercial level and no one's willing to risk that? Is that what it is?
That's exactly what it is. It's a question of scale. So we work at the laboratory scale at the moment at a few litres. We need to get to the size of Sydney. And the question is, when you go to a pilot scale of a few thousand litres, who's going to invest in that? Who's going to take that risk? Because you're not producing very much fuel, but you have significant construction costs. Okay. So somebody needs to take that risk.
Right. And so it's as combustible as petrol or diesel? What sort of fuel are you talking about?
So you would get crude oil and you separate the oil into fractions. There would be a diesel fraction, a petrol fraction, also jet fuel fraction, elements that you could use to make plastics. So you get the whole spectrum of fuels.
Oh, so you've just opened up my eyes to a whole new world I didn't know existed. I didn't know it was completely replaceable for hydrocarbons. That's amazing.
Well, I'm glad to hear.
Okay. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you.
We've got three people here who've just been experiencing the Chris Hadfield experience on stage. What's it been like?
It's been very fascinating, actually. It's great to hear all the little things that you might be thinking about in space that we don't know the answers to, and he's just been telling us everything. So that's
What was the one thing you might have learnt there that you're going, wow?
I've learnt a few things, and now you've asked me that question and it's popped out of my mind. What did you learn?
Yeah, what have you found out from his space experience that you thought, gee, I would never have thought that?
I actually really hadn't considered how rough the landing would be coming in, because you see the shots of it and it doesn't always look that rough. It looks fairly smooth. I hadn't realised how jostled they get. That really quite surprised me.
Yeah, and he gets rolled around before it comes to a stop.
Yeah, I thought that was amazing. I did like that he got an apple at the end of it. I thought that was quite funny.
Yeah, I like the fact that he could actually feel the weight of his own tongue once the gravity came back.
Yeah, that's right. That seemed a bit weird to me. Like, you would always think that you could feel that, but yeah.
Like you think you maybe your arm or your head or something, but your tongue.
Yeah, that was a bit strange.
Yeah. How did you find his presentation on stage?
Oh, he's a fantastic speaker. I really enjoyed listening to him.
Was there one fact that stuck out?
I think perhaps the most magic thing that he brought up was describing that moment, just hanging off the space station, told to hang in there for a few minutes and just letting go, and just the impact of that moment is amazing.
Yeah. And what about when he was actually in the Southern Lights? He wasn't looking at the Southern Lights, he was part of the Southern Lights.
Yeah, that... not something you'd ever think about. But
yeah, it'd be off his shoes and all that sort of thing. Yeah,
it's just amazing. It'd be such an experience. Made me very jealous.
Yeah. Now, of course, he's going to do the question section next. What is one question you would ask him if you get to go up there?
Ooh, we were just discussing that before, and I don't know, just like the little things about. I think you were saying something about what would you do if you vomited in space?
Well, the thing that I would like to ask him, and they say around NASA, that you're not really an astronaut until you've actually used the space toilet in space. And I'd like to ask him if it really is that difficult to use.
Yeah, I want to know, but I don't really want to think about it too much.
You're right. Yeah, it's an interesting fact, but not at this time of night. Yeah, what do you think you'd ask him?
Oh, I think I need a little longer to process everything you said before I can come up with a sensible question.
Good thing, yeah. Well, look, thank you and enjoy your night.
Thank you. So that's how we think it's triggering the disease, because we've shown in cell culture that.
That's the voice of Dr Rachie there as she's talking to yet another potential science graduate about the work that she does. I don't understand it myself, but they appear interested. Got John here down here. John, how are you going? How's Dr Rachie been going there? She's been fielding a few interesting questions.
Yeah, I haven't been paying too much close attention, but she's definitely had some interesting or interested parties coming along and asking her questions about her research.
I like the way that she can demonstrate the entire life cycle of any type of algae through mime.
Yes, it's fascinating.
And interpretive dance.
It's fascinating. You'd think a microbial life form. How would you express that in mime? Well, she found a way.
She becomes it. She becomes a microbial life form. And we've been asking a few people, because we're about space here tonight, what is your favourite space movie or TV thing of all time? And again, as I'm telling people, not necessarily accurate. I mean, what is your favourite one?
I think Space 1999.
Martin Landau. And where are our skivvies? We are 15 years past that now? And we haven't got any decent outfits like were designed by Sylvia Anderson for that show.
We don't even have a moon base. I mean, what the hell?
Yeah. Look, if I were you, listener, I would stop this right now, then go to YouTube and just have a look at the intro to Space 1999. It's got one of the funkiest themes of all time, hasn't it?
Indeed, it does. The funkiest.
It's beyond any porn film music you're ever going to hear. It's just fantastic.
There's one show that I happened upon recently. It's called UFO.
Oh, surprising. Another one, another Jerry Anderson one where he's directing actors, but the good thing is they actually can act. They act like puppets.
It's an amazing show. Look it up on YouTube. It's fantastic.
It features a Daisy Wheel printer in the intro, and it's set in the futuristic year of 1984. And the great thing is that I've got a Jean-Paul Gaultier suit from 1990 that is identical to what Ed Straker used to wear in UFO 1984. It is a great show.
Some great costumes, and I love the way when they're going off to shoot the aliens in their little rocket ships. They just dive into those tubes. It's amazing.
and the moon-based girls with the purple wigs.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Because not only do you have to wear a miniskirt on the moon base as part of your uniform, let's just make it really sexist and force you to wear purple wigs.
Yes, indeed. And, well,
because everyone knows that 60s go-go dancers is the exact outfit you'd want on the moon.
Well, this is why I think we should have a moon base. I mean, then we'd have 60s go dancers.
That's very good. Your logic is infallible. That's great. That's great. Oh, man, I'm glad I met someone. 1999. Look, check out those themes. And the 1984. Great.
In a world where the truth is a matter of opinion, where messages are received from beyond the grave, and reason is sidelined for magical thinking, only three men stand between the truth and a postmodernist abyss.
What date is it? 7th, 8th? 7th, 8th?
This is impressive. Are these artist impressions? They're not. They're photographs of Chinese lanterns. It's not. We are not well researched. Yeah, because... Good God, we're full We of don't discuss cryptozoology on this show very often, because we don't know anything about it. That's true, that is true.
The price gets lower and lower and lower, and then he hits a ceiling?
It's a ceiling from the room below. Skeptics with a K from the Merseyside Skeptic Society. Find us on iTunes. Or, don't.
Thank you for listening to the Skeptic Zone. Now some information about the upcoming Australian Skeptics National Convention and new information released by Australian Skeptics. We got some new guests to announce. And the blurb says, in a special Consumer Affairs discussion panel, the 30th National Australian Skeptics Convention will feature 3 entertainers from the ABC satirical programs The Checkout and The Chaser. Julian Morrow, Kristen Drysdale and Chas Licciardello are known for their fearless attacks on ignorance and double-dealing wherever it might be, politicians, shonky services or pseudoscience. They will be joined by 2 leading figures in consumer protection in Australia, Delia Rickard, Deputy Chair of the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, ACCC, and Alan Kirkland, CEO of Choice Magazine. Fantastic. Some really great guests coming up for the Australian Skeptics National Convention. For more information, go to www.convention.skeptics.com.au or skeptics.com.au. Check it out. Now's the time to buy your ticket, secure your place. It's going to be a great convention, one of the biggest ones in this country for some years. Can't wait to see the Skeptics Guide to the Universe gang. George Rubb, Sonia Pemberton is also coming along. Dr. Cole, worth the price of admission alone. Can't wait for that. See you there at the end of November in Chatswood here in Sydney. But for this week, I think I'll run downstairs and finish off that couscous and tuna. This is Richard Saunders, signing off.
You've been listening to the Skeptic Zone. Visit our website at www.skepticzone.tv for comments, contacts, and extra video reports.